Alex, Peter, welcome to the cave.
It's great to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Exciting time, new film,
Yes.
Wired Shot.
Yes, indeed.
I can't wait to be talking about it. But before we get into the whole movie thing, I want to know how did you guys decide to get into the entertainment industry?
Oh man, Alex, you want to take first go here?
I can. Yep. My sister's to blame completely. I think as far back as I can remember, she always wanted to be an actress, and I was convinced that I should be doing archaeology because I'd seen Indiana Jones, and so she took acting classes. I followed suit, not really knowing. And then I kind of became a kid with a camera after school. I'd invite my friends over. We'd, play shoot 'em up, little movies on the, alarming the neighbors, and then I realized that in doing that, I wanted to be behind the camera, not necessarily in front. So, and then, it all kind of went from there. I went to film school and met this fine gentleman here.
Yep. For me, I've writing is kind of in my blood, I suppose you could say. My mom is a New York Times bestselling novelist, so storytelling in some form or another has always been kind of at the forefront of my thinking in terms of what I wanted to do. The two big things for me was writing and then athletics. I was a very competitive soccer player. I played college soccer back in the day. But I eventually switched over to the entertainment industry exclusively because I wanted to focus on visual storytelling. And I think, visual storytelling is the visceral reaction you can get out of an audience is something that you can't quite achieve in any other medium. That said, I am doing other mediums. I just finished writing a novel. I've written plays. I'm kind of all over the place.
Now, did you both work together in college and write the other projects?
So we did a short film together that I wrote and I was in we started working on it when we were in college, but we didn't shoot. When we shot it, we technically had graduated, I suppose. But I was roommates with this knucklehead, so we were in each other's orbit for quite a long time.
Wow, that's great. So how did you guys come up with the idea for this movie now? Because I know, are you in Canada now, Alex?
I am currently, yeah.
What about you, Peter? Where are you these days?
I'm in Brooklyn. I was in LA.
Okay.
I moved out to Brooklyn in June of this year.
So how did you guys decide to get together to get this project going?
I got a text. Obviously, like Peter said, we did a short, and we were in a film. We went to one of the final film festivals we did for that run was Gig Harbor down in Washington. And I remember driving back from Washington back up to Vancouver, and I was driving through a storm. And I got a text message, and the text message said, "Wired Shut, home invasion thriller, feature length," and then it all went from there. But I was convinced. I remember Peter and I were very convinced after doing the short film run that we needed to do a feature, because we were a little tired of come Sunday morning 10 a.m. come see short film block C. And we'll show 7 short films at, it's like, who's going to show up at 10 a.m. to see 7? And the 5th of which is, so, and it wasn't out of spite. It was just, it was Friday night, Alexander Sharp's debut feature film, 7 p.m. made auditorium. So we were like, we got to do one of these. So, I'll let Peter talk about where the inspiration came from, but we decided to write something achievable, 1 location, 3 characters. How can we do it? How can we do something that's 90 minutes?
Yes, just going off of that, we kind of reverse engineered the story a little bit around the elements that we needed. So we knew that it had to be contained, not a lot of characters, not a lot of dialogue, something we could realistically do ourselves for not a lot of money. And so that narrowed the parameters quite a bit, which was fun for me I find when the box is smaller, finding creativity in a small box is more inspiring in some ways, in a weird way. So we both love the home invasion thriller subgenre, and we actually watched the Scorsese remake of Cape Fear at the same time with one another, and that was a big influence to this movie. I think when we finished it, we both kind of looked at each other and went, "This, right? Yeah, this? Yeah, cool. Okay, great." So I was thinking about, okay, home invasion thriller, what could we do that, would make us excited to do this, but hasn't quite been done before in the subgenre? Okay, we've seen Hush, we've seen things like that. What's the variation on that? And then someone in my life was going through the same surgery that the main character Reed has in the
Wow.
movie.
Yeah.
And I was watching this person, you know, not able to talk, jaw wired shut, and I was just thinking, like, what if I put this scenario in a life or death consequence? What's that look like? And then it kind of just mushroomed out from there. But yeah, that was the genesis. Yeah.
How do you cast that part, by the way?
Yeah, I know.
Is that something you could just throw somebody in there because they're not really talking?
Quite the opposite. Yeah, it's initially I was like, oh my God, who's gonna want to do this? There's no dialogue, you know, who can we get to do this? And it was actually the other way. It was completely reversed. It's actually a huge undertaking and a massive challenge for an actor to be able to communicate so much and just with a look. You know, what you don't want is you don't want somebody who's pantomiming literally everything, and it's like, okay, you know, it's Buster Keaton or something like that. It's very, very tricky, and it's very, very subtle work. And Blake Stadel did phenomenally, and he was up for the challenge. He got a couple lines out of it. It's a voiceover bit.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah.
So how long did it take you to put the script together, and what was the next step after that for like casting and filming?
So it was really fast. I started working on the script in November of 2018. Okay. We got it to a good place in December of 2018. And then this location, the house that we ended up using, we were planning on shooting in the summer of 2019, you know, to give us some time, you know, the prep and whatnot. This location, this house that we ended up using kind of fell into our lap. And we had this very narrow, specific 2-week window in March of 2019. So Alex and I were like, okay, do we do this? Do we go for broke, or do we pick another location? What do we do? And we decided to kind of just go for it and, you know, go pedal to the metal. And so everything after that went very, very, very fast.
Wow. How long did it take to film it?
2 weeks.
Wow, 2 weeks. Wow.
Yeah.
2 weeks. Did
you guys sleep at all?
No.
No. I wrote a movie that basically takes place all at night. So shoot days were almost exclusively 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. every night. Wow. It's a weird experience eating lunch at 2 in the morning or 1 in the morning. It's very weird.
Alex, I saw that your sister is in the movie also. I had her last year on my show. Cool. Was this like a favor type of thing that she did it for you? Like how did that conversation start up to get her on?
Well, I tried not to frame it in a favor thing for the Big Brothers movie. No, we wrote her in. When we decided to do the feature, we said, Natalie is my sister, of course, and what can we do there? And so she was always going to be Emmy. There was a little bit of fun trying to navigate as a Big Brother doing this silly little feature film, navigating her agents and what other projects, because she's obviously, she's doing great with The Flash, and so it was fun. But she ended up. I said to her, you can do whatever you want. You can do a Lifetime movie, or you can do Wired Shut and then get cast in another Lifetime movie after you're done. And that's exactly what happened. She decided to do ours, and then she went on to keep doing what she was doing. So
yeah, and the part of Emmy was designed around the strengths Natalie brought to the table as an actress. There was certain themes and character dynamics that I wanted. Once I found out that she was in and was going to do, I was like, okay, what can I build around her? And that's kind of how Emmy came to the forefront. Yeah.
When the movie gets released to the public, what do you want the viewers to gasp from this film? What do you want to see from them?
Ooh.
Peter?
Oh geez, put me on the spot. What I would say is I hope, obviously it is a thriller with a little bit of horror laced in there, right? But I hope underneath the genre trappings, I hope people recognize that it is a father-daughter kind of reconnecting story, and that's the heart underneath all of it. And I hope that people enjoy that story as much as they enjoy the genre-y stuff. That's probably my biggest wish.
Yeah. How about you, Alex?
I'm right there with Peter. We approached it as a father-daughter story, and it elevates and spirals from there, but it always starts and comes back to the story of a dad who just wants to apologize to his daughter, but he can't because his mouth's wired shut. And so that's where all the friction comes from. And of course, we've got the villain and all that, and the cat and mouse, and the dark hallways in the house. But yeah, I really hope that my hope would be that people see the beauty in it, and also, with everything being put out today, I'm obviously a big fan of movies. I'm a big fan of the history of cinema. I want I want the pacing and the atmosphere and the silence of it. I want that to be a repeatable phenomenon. I love Lawrence of Arabia. I love 2001: A Space Odyssey. I love when a camera can tell a story with no words, and we can just sit in a room for a little bit and push in and just let the movie wash over you, as opposed to cut, visual effects. So my hope is, I hope that people enjoy the cinematic quality I tried to achieve, and also the beauty of it in the story.
Now, how can the listeners or the viewers find the film? When does it release? When do we get to see it?
It'll be out on November 30th, and you can get it on digital and VOD, Amazon Prime, iTunes, Vudu, anywhere you usually go to. It'll be.
That's great. How can the listeners, the viewers, find it on social media? Also, do you guys have social media handles for the movie?
Yeah, at Wired Shut Movie on Instagram. That's kind of where we live. Not really Twitter or Facebook. We're kind of solely on Instagram. There's a couple posters up on there, and of course you can follow me on Instagram if you want.
Go ahead, throw your social media handles out so the listeners and viewers can find you also.
Yeah, Alexander.Sharpie with a Y, because I'm not the felt marker.
I just recently joined social media as of like 5 or 6 months ago, and I'm still only on Twitter, but I have a Twitter. It's at PME Writer.
All right, guys, this was great. Thanks for coming on the show, and good luck with the film.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you very much.